Counting on Josh Duggar in prison hell, is Anna still by his side? Counting on alum Josh Duggar continues to face controversies in prison. There were speculations that the 37-year-old son of Jim Bob and Michelle was living his best life and was even getting rock star treatment in prison. It was also reported that he moved to a dorm with special benefits and has obtained numerous items that are considered luxuries, such as sneakers and sunglasses. However, it seems the tables have turned for Josh, as news sources claim that he's now going through hell in prison. Keep reading to see what happened. According to reports, Josh and his prison cell were restricted from several benefits. One of them was their ability to talk with their loved ones through phones. Sources said that they were no longer allowed to leave their cells. The punishment came after Josh's cell was shaken down due to contraband phones. They were also restricted from other daily activities, including their classes. But it seems things are only getting worse for the counting on alum. News sources claim that Josh is now suffering much more in prison. According to an insider, it's been a hell on earth in Josh's cell, adding that the counting on alum has been whining and desperately wants the support of his family. The source continued that some feel he deserves pity, while others want to make him suffer. The insider added that it was stressful to hear Josh describing his life in prison. He's still going through politics, constant punishment, and inedible food. The insider said, "The fears of bodily harm, the cold and discomfort, but not everyone wants him sprung." It seems Josh is now experiencing the consequences of his sins, and he's going to have to deal with them until 2032. In addition to that, his cell reportedly did a hunger strike after the prison shut down their recreational time following their contraband phones. But it's unclear if Josh participated in the strike. Josh Duggar and the other inmates also received other punishments after the contraband incident. Aside from the adjustments to their recreational time, the authorities have also assigned a new warden who threatens the cell with more severe punishment if they are caught with any contraband. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar have yet to share their comments regarding the worsening living conditions for their imprisoned son. Meanwhile, Anna recently made headlines after appearing at a Keller family event in Florida. But sources claim that the counting on alum is still taking her husband's side, though it seems all the controversies have affected her mentally, which may have led to her noticeable weight gain. Sure, here's a 3,000-word direct script with no labeled portions or character narratives, based on Joy-Anna Duggar sharing fun with Abby Grace Burnett and Caitlin Nakatsu. Joy-Anna Duggar stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her denim jacket and smoothing her shirt. The kids were napping, the house was unusually quiet, and today was one of those rare afternoons when she had a little bit of time for herself and her friends. She grabbed her keys and phone and stepped out the door, locking it behind her. Her heart felt light. It wasn't often she had a moment to simply enjoy being with Abby Grace Burnett and Caitlin Nakatsu. They had planned this outing for weeks, constantly juggling schedules, naps, and responsibilities. But today, it was finally happening. A fun afternoon, just the three of them. The drive to the Real Lena's resale event was short, the roads familiar. Joy-Anna loved these types of community events, not just for the deals on kids' clothes, but for the simple pleasure of seeing familiar faces, exchanging stories, and feeling like a normal young mom. When she pulled up, she spotted Abby and Caitlin already waiting near the entrance. Abby waved, her bright smile framed by the crisp breeze, and Caitlin laughed as she adjusted her purse and waved back with both hands. The three embraced quickly before making their way inside. The smell of freshly steamed clothes and new finds hit them instantly, and the sound of soft chatter filled the large warehouse space. Racks of neatly hung baby clothes, bins of toys, and strollers lined the floor. They each grabbed an empty shopping bag and started browsing. Joy-Anna paused at a rack of overalls and smiled, pulling a tiny denim pair out to show Abby. "Gideon would have loved these when he was smaller," she said. Abby chuckled, nodding. Gracie outgrew her entire wardrobe overnight, I swear. She started flipping through a row of little girl dresses, occasionally holding one up and raising an eyebrow at Caitlin, who'd wandered over to the toddler section. Do you think Ivy would wear this? Catelyn looked over, grinning. She'd love the sparkles. It's cute. She held up a pair of pink sandals. Twins already have more shoes than I do. They all laughed. These moments, the easy banter, the laughter that bubbled up naturally, were a balm. Life could be hectic, overwhelming even, with young children, responsibilities, and the attention that came with being part of such a well-known family. But together, they could be themselves. Not Duggar daughters-in-law, just Joy, Abby, and Kate. After an hour of sifting through racks and chatting about sleep regressions, feeding tips, and the best stain removers for baby clothes, they decided it was time for a break. Outside, the Arkansas sun peeked through scattered clouds, and they made their way to a nearby cafe that had become their unofficial hangout. They grabbed a table near the window, ordering iced coffees and pastries, grateful for a moment to sit. Joyanna leaned back, sighing contentedly. You know what? I needed this. Just time to breathe. Abby nodded, stirring her drink. Me too. There's something about being with you girls that just helps. Catelyn smiled, reaching for a bite of her muffin. It's like therapy but with better snacks. They all laughed again, and the conversation drifted to birth stories, sleep training struggles, and the oddities of motherhood. They compared notes on diapers and toddler tantrums, but there was an underlying joy in all of it. They supported each other through the messy, chaotic parts of life without judgment. At one point, Joyanna pulled out her phone and showed them a video of Gideon helping Austin wash the car. His tiny hands clutching a sponge, spraying everything except the car. Abby and Catelyn burst into laughter, and Abby shared a video of Gracie insisting that a plastic dinosaur needed to ride in her car seat. Caitlin one-upped them with a clip of Ivy trying to teach her baby brothers how to clap. They were in stitches, wiping tears from their eyes, and the table felt like a pocket of light in the world. After lunch, they headed to a nearby park. It was quiet, with only a few families scattered around. They walked along the path, talking about their dreams. Not just the ones related to parenting or family, but personal dreams. Joyanna admitted she sometimes missed filming little videos, creating content. Abby said she wanted to go back to nursing part-time someday. Caitlin confessed she'd been writing poetry when the twins napped. These were parts of themselves they rarely shared, even with other family. But here, with each other, it was safe. They paused by a bench, watching ducks glide across the water. Joyanna pulled out her phone and snapped a candid photo of Abby and Caitlin laughing, the sunlight catching in their hair. She posted it later with a simple caption, "So thankful for friends who feel like sisters." The likes and comments came quickly, followers loving the rare glimpse into her day. Fans always appreciated seeing the quieter, unfiltered sides of the Duggar girls' lives. And this wasn't curated. It was real. The next day, Joyanna invited Abby and Catelyn over to her house. The kids ran around the backyard while the moms sat on the deck with lemonade, their laughter rising above the sound of squeals and giggles. Gideon and Gracie started a game of tag. Ivy insisted on pushing a stroller with one of the twins in it, and all of them ended up in a muddy patch by the garden. Instead of stressing, the moms laughed, pulled out baby wipes, and took pictures. At some point, Austin came out with a tray of snacks and waved before heading back inside. Joyanna smiled to herself, thinking how lucky she was to have friends who made her feel whole. The afternoon stretched lazily into evening. They ordered pizza, fed the kids, and sat together as the sun set, sharing bits of themselves they hadn't voiced in a while. Abby talked about how hard the transition from 1 to 2 kids had been. Caitlin admitted she sometimes felt like she was losing herself in motherhood. Joyanna confessed she missed her brother John, sometimes more than she let on. There were no perfect answers, but there was understanding. The following week, Joanna surprised them with a small road trip. Just a couple hours to a quaint town known for its antique shops and bakeries. They piled into the car, kids with snacks and tablets in the back, and music playing up front. They sang along to old songs, reminisced about their early days in the family, and joked about the quirks they'd all inherited. They spent the day exploring, buying small trinkets and handmade candles, sampling pastries, and laughing at inside jokes. They snapped a photo under a mural that read, "You're exactly where you need to be." Joanna framed that photo and kept it on her desk. They weren't just sisters-in-law, they were something more, something deeper. Through all the noise and scrutiny, they found refuge in each other, and it made all the difference. Over the months, their bond only deepened. They created traditions, monthly coffee catch-ups, text threads full of memes and baby milestones, random drop-ins with baked goods, spontaneous park meetups. They became a trio that brought joy and peace into each other's lives. On a snowy morning, Joanna texted them a photo of her kids bundled up, ready to play outside. Within 20 minutes, Abby and Catalin were at her door, bundled with their kids too. They let the little ones play while they built a lopsided snowman and took selfies with frozen noses and cheeks red from the cold. They laughed until they couldn't feel their toes. That night, after everyone left and the kids were asleep, Joanna sat in her quiet house and looked through the photos from the day. One stood out, her, Abby and Catalin sitting on the porch swing with mugs of hot cocoa, smiles wide, eyes crinkled with happiness. She thought about how lucky she was. Not because of the name, not because of the cameras or the fame, but because she had found something rare. Genuine friendship in the whirlwind of her world. She had people who knew her heart, who stood by her not for show, not for obligation, but because they chose to. That kind of bond was priceless. And as the snow fell quietly outside her window, Joanna felt a deep peace. She didn't know what the next season would hold. Life had a way of being unpredictable, but she knew that as long as she had Abby and Catalin by her side, whatever came next, she wouldn't face it alone.